doing one pull into a stall to see what that's like. We did some pit stop practice at the shop, but yeah, I've driven around by myself the 65 minutes we've had on track. Haven't really seen a lot of other cars, so I think it's going to be a much different experience tomorrow.
Are you getting comfortable, Jordan, with how you have to come down pit road? I think you had said earlier this week you're used to pushing buttons and that, right, on the steering wheel.
Yeah, we're used to just going flat out like it's cruise control and not thinking about it. So that was honestly my #1 concern coming into the weekend, was not just remembering that, but nailing it. I know there's a fine window of getting it right. So in the simulator, we practiced a bunch. I told the guys, like, I'd rather sacrifice a couple laps in practice to roll through pit lane to practice that. So we did yesterday just to get a feel for it. And thankfully it's easier than the simulator, but it's still a difficult variable. I still haven't had to look for my pit stall yet with a million boards while looking at the dash. So yeah, it's just going to be another element to learn tomorrow.
How many hours of simulator time do you have?
I probably had an hour and a half total, so it wasn't as much as I would have wanted. I had 30 minutes the week I got the call, and then I had an hour this week. So yeah, it wasn't a ton of time. I would have loved to have a full week of simulator time, but yeah, the Hendrick guys have done an amazing job. Obviously, the correlation between that Chevy simulator and the real life, like I was running, the qualifying lap I did, I think 11.0 was pretty much what I ran in the simulator. So once I got comfortable in the car and exploited what was there, the simulator transferred very well. So it was definitely good to have that in my back pocket.
How smooth do you feel like the weekend's on tomorrow?
I mean, yesterday was not smooth, in the car at least. I had so many massive moments where I thought, like, I didn't know what I was doing here. So I was shocked to see the speed yesterday, and then talking with everyone afterwards, it sounds like everyone has those moments, and that's just a normal thing in NASCAR. So today we made some adjustments, and today felt super smooth. I felt like I was driving my car, or something I was used to, something that was familiar to me. So I'm hoping that's going to be the same feeling again tomorrow.
A lot of the Cup drivers were saying it's an honor to be racing against two F1 champions, IMSA champions. So I want to ask you, what's it like racing against all these Cup regulars in the Cup Series now?
Yeah, I mean, these are guys that I've been watching my whole life. You know, we only race 11 times a year, so we have all those off weekends to watch these guys. So yeah, it's surreal to come out of the pits and hear you got Harvick coming up behind you, Byron's in front of you. Larson's up ahead, so hearing those names on the radio still doesn't kind of feel like that's actually that guy in that car, but yeah, it's still kind of surreal. And tomorrow when we're kind of door to door, I'm sure I'll figure out what those guys are really like on the racetrack.
We've kind of seen this revival of these road course wingers. Would maybe another Cup race at another road course, or even one of our like bigger races like a Daytona 500 be
for me?
For you?
I mean, I would love to do it. I've always wanted to do a road course, whether it was trucks, Xfinity, or Cup. So for this opportunity to come up with Hendrick was a crazy opportunity. So obviously it's my first time, but it's going well so far. So yeah, I'd love to do more road courses. It's a car that I enjoy driving, this style of racing, a style of car with, you know, no driver aids. Everything in sports car now is so homologated, and adding ABS, traction control, all those driver aids that kind of take away from the driver himself and development of the car. So when you come to NASCAR, it's still more old school. The driver is kind of wringing the neck out of it. You're working with your team to make good setup changes. So I've enjoyed the process so far. Unfortunately, there's only one session. I think it would have been awesome to have a full 2019 weekend, but yeah, we're taking it as it is.
Have you gone by this? I don't know exactly where you were here when you got the call. Were you in a garage, or like, and have you walked by that spot at all where you got the call?
I mean, I could replay the entire day. Like the weekend, you know, I texted Jeff to say, hey, if there's ever an opportunity, you know, please keep me in mind. And he knew I was always interested. And then, unfortunately, when Chase's incident happened, he reached out and said, if you were available, could you do it? And I was, yeah, 100% I would do it, like no matter what. So then I kind of thought it would never happen, and then when we were here at that Garage 56 test, I was only supposed to do about 5 laps that day, and then I walked in on a phone call with Chad Canals, and he's like, oh, hold on, Jordan, and then Jeff was on the phone. Jeff said, you know, you're in if you want it, and I'm like, well, then I'm in. So then it was basically just planning from their logistics and everything, and it was pretty whirlwind experience to kind of get all my licensing done, all the certificates to get approved, drug testing. I was in Sebring for a whole week for my IMSA race, so it was definitely a hectic week, but it's nice to finally get to the racetrack and kind of get down to business.
How much different is it going to be for you? You've gotten the qualifying out, and now you're racing, and it's going to be door to door, and it's going to be hard. And, you know, how do you change that over to that, I guess, that mindset?
Yeah, I mean, I've taken it kind of one day at a time. I was like yesterday was practice, it was all right, figure out the car, figure out pit lane speed, figure out fans to use. Qualifying was executing a lap, not making mistakes like I was yesterday, to kind of put it all together. And then now my mind's going to switch to race day. So I haven't put a ton of thought into like restarts and things. We practiced a little bit in the simulator, but yeah, now I'll go back, probably watch last year's race again to kind of get an idea of what the restarts look like, just to refresh my memory. And yeah, kind of be as prepared as possible.
Are you as prepared for somebody coming at your door and bouncing off you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm waiting for it. At some point, especially being at the front, I'm sure some guys aren't super happy that I'm up there. But yeah, I'll do my best. We've got 3 spotters. I think they've probably got someone in a helicopter just watching just in case, just to kind of help me out. But yeah, those guys have been amazing, kind of helping me guide my way around certain guys. But yeah, I'm sure tomorrow's going to be pretty wild.
George, I got to ask you, a couple weeks ago when we talked in Sebring.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
good to see you.
Good to see you too, man. Yeah, Sebring, you were like, I don't know if I'll ever get that chance to race in NASCAR. How much of a total moment is this for you?
Yeah, we did talk about that like the week before this happened. So yeah, it's still surreal, honestly. I mean, I'm going through the motions here at the track, but I think it'll probably take to like seeing it on TV after the fact. Because when you're inside of the moment, even on a sports car race, you don't see the outside perspective of what's actually going on, all the fans and the interaction. So for me, I'm working with my small group of guys. I've got like 8 guys that I've gotten to know really well. We're going through the motions of working on the car. So my blinders are on like a horse. I haven't seen anything on the outside. It's the first time I've kind of spoken to media. The Hendrick people have done a great job of helping me focus on the actual driving side. So
okay, please
yeah, it's been a great job.
Do you feel that the Garage 56? Do you feel that testing with Garage 56 has helped out with your speed you've shown already?
Honestly, I don't. I think there was almost no correlation between the two. I was hoping it would be pretty close, but yesterday I was so far out to lunch that it was like learning a whole new race car. And talking to Jensen and Jimmy as well, we all kind of expected one thing, and then when we got into an actual Cup car, it was a completely different animal. So the way the car works mechanically, aero-wise, driving style, you have to completely change everything. So yeah, it's much different.
All right, thank you.